What is salvation? In who? In what person that believes? All right, 32 and 24. Right. But who rebelled? You got it. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm saying, no, I hear what you're saying with the spirit, but the first thing I asked about was the conversation of who is talking about being spiritual, right? You said Israel, Israelites, but then you said not just them. And I said, no, no, no. Yeah. Inwardly, or outwardly, but inwardly, right. Right. Yeah. Well, let me show you something. I got you right now. What you got? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 32, and verse number 24. Oh, anybody that believe, right? Okay. He that believe in the Lord taketh heed to the command. And you got to ask that question. It's saying, he that believe in the Lord taketh heed to the commandments. Who was the commandments given to? Okay. So who's the only people that the Lord is looking for to believe? That's right. One thing, King. What your brother's trying to say is, you can't pass a test that you never got. It was for them to take. You're the only one passing the test, which is the Israelite. Everybody didn't get the test, which is the commandment and the law. You said that though. What's your name? Leviticus 19 and verse 1. Brother, you got the right spirit, but we just going to inform you with knowledge and wisdom according to the scripture. You're a soldier. You're a soldier. You want to be a soldier for Christ and for God. But we just got to give you the swords and the weapons to be used pertaining to information so you know how to wield that weapon and know what you're talking about. All right? You said, love thy neighbors, right? You say, who believe? I asked you earlier, and I told you who believe. Who the Lord is talking about pertaining to believing? Those that he gave the commandments to. Who did he give the commandments to? Right. No. Psalms 147 and 19. Hold on. Leviticus 19 and verse 1. Hold on. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 147, and verse number 19. And it reads, he showeth his word unto Jacob, and his statutes and judgments unto Israel. Unto who? Unto Israel. Unto who? Unto Israel. Unto Israel. You know? He hath not done so with any nation. Read that part again. He had not done so with any nation. You made that up. He had not done so with any nation. That's what the word says. Yeah, he gave his statutes. But listen what I'm saying. He gave his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He has not done so in any other nation. Teach everybody else. Yeah, I agree with that. But hold on. The problem, I agree with that. You want Israel to teach everybody else. How can we teach everybody else if we don't got our house in order first? That's the problem. What's the big issue? There's no private interpretation. Yeah, I know. You're talking about the spiritual as well too, right? Okay. Let me get 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 1. What you got? The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse number 1. We talked about who believe, those that keep the commandments are only given to Israel, right? And you talked about the spiritual and the interpretation. There's no private interpretation. What you got? Welcome to Moses saying that. Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel. Israel. Of the children of Israel. Of the children of Israel. Once again, God is instructing Moses to speak only to the congregation, the household, the church, the nation of Israel. This is a conversation with only Israelites.
Yeah. Wait, no, didn't want to do that. Can all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahushai. All right. Kwom Yashala. We got next. It's looking good out there. Shalom, everyone. You know, after trumpets, after atonement, after tabernacles, here we are. What is the Lord going to show us now? It is a lot. All right. First and foremost, let's give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahushai being the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Kwom Yasha'Allah, rise Israel. Double honors to our elders, paving the way, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel in these last days. It's looking good. It's looking good. Okay. Apparently getting some people's attention. I got 2 copyright strikes at 2 in the morning last night. All praise to the Most High, because I say the same thing every time, right? I say fair use act, fair use act. You know what I'm saying? Write it in the comment section, not the comment, but the description. And apparently Esau, no surprise to anybody, Esau does not follow his own laws. You know what I'm saying? He writes laws and breaks them, and then tries to tell everybody else that they're a criminal or that they're degenerate and everything like that. But it clearly is projection. He's talking about himself. Okay, so if you're in YouTube, please Bubba Kashaw, like, comment, and subscribe. Channel might not be up much longer. They say you get one more, you're out of here. So looks like Amos 8 and 11 on the way. You know what I mean? Might have to get a HOI News 2. Matter of fact, I might do that tonight because I can see the writing on the wall. And seems like the job's getting done, getting somebody's attention, and then hopefully it is you Israelites, right? But if Esau sees that his time is short, then I'm good with that as well, okay? But it's all about the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, all right? So this is called spiritual annihilation. You know what I mean? We're going to annihilate them spiritually. I made this class before what happened last night. It is what it is, They're getting annihilated. They're getting destroyed. Um, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, you know what I'm saying? This is a spiritual war. This is a spiritual battle that you have to win. You have all the tools. Everything's right in front of you. You got the book. You got the past, you got the current events, you got what's happening in the future. You got how to get these wicked spirits off of you. You got how to get the attention of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You have all that information, and it's a blessing because at one point in time, you know, let's go back in time, Paul was writing part of the New Testament. He was dealing with the Old Testament. He was learning on the go, so to speak. We have his we have his writings. We have the law, we have the prophets, we have everything right here in this book. You know what I'm saying? So you got to give thanks, to your Heavenly Father that we have access to this important information in these last days. You look around, man, brothers is falling apart. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where you're at watching this, but if you have a thing called Citizens app, we have this thing called Citizen app. I'm pretty sure it's just not allocated to the East Coast because, when I went to Detroit and other places, I start seeing bling, bling, bling coming up, robbery here, shooting here, you know, carjacking here, all that. But man, the close proximity of violent crimes is unbelievable at this point. And you would think, Jake would realize who he is and come back to these law, statutes, commandments, but it ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Wish it was, but 2/3 is 2/3 for a reason. Let's not be part of that number. Let's aim to be part of the 144 and the 1/3. You know what I'm saying? Sipping wine with Yahushai, looking at the destruction of Babylon from a chariot. You know what I'm saying? Being able to ask him questions. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. Very excited about that. Okay. Um, but until that happens, let's annihilate them spiritually. Let's just take them down to the dirt, to the grime, to the mirror. Let's get it done. You know what I mean? Today's Wednesday. Of course, it's the Wednesday wake up call, but it's also the HOI fast. You know what I'm saying? Weekly fast. Take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? Amazing things happen when you fast and when you pray and when you read scriptures and when you meditate. It just all goes hand in hand. Following the law, statutes, commandments, and doing all those things. It's a powerful cocktail, a powerful concoction that Esau has no bomb, no drone. He has no answer for this. Okay. So since we are, the Most High, of course, through the power, strength, and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, they're getting annihilated. Okay. So let's let our prayers pierce the clouds and take them down spiritually, of course. Most High will take care of all the physical and everything like that. All right. Let's begin. Let's talk about what's going on with Esau. He's not doing too good, is he? Oh my goodness. Look at his numbers. He ain't had no churn. His churn that he is having, they strung out on dope. They're dopers. Um, their economy is collapsing. We're in a trade war. When I say we, talking about America, but I'm living here, but I ain't part of this thing. They're having a trade war with China. How you gonna have a trade war with China when you don't trade anything? All you do is export sodomy and weapons. And China don't need your weapons. China has their own fighter jets. China has their own missile defense systems. China has their own different type of guns. They got HK or SK or something. They got some crazy things over there in China. They don't need America's weapons. So how you gonna have a trade war? Now America needs everything. These cell phones, and my cell phone starts ringing. I mean, come on, you can't make that up. Um, okay. Cell phones, computers, pens, pencils, everything you see is made in China. Almost everything. You look around your house, it'd be like made in China, made in China. The Xbox, PlayStation, everything, TVs. So you're having a trade war with someone that don't need you and you need them. Donald Trump is a moron. His administration are buffoons. You know what I mean? You look at it on paper, oh, they graduated from the University of Penn, graduated from Harvard University. But then when you look back on who's that in Full House? Aunt Becky and all them. Remember they're paying for their children to go to school or not go to school for grades. They had to get their SATs right. They're like, oh, here's $50,000 for a perfect SAT number. They dumb as bricks. And then when they get there, their daddy, last name, because your daddy is Trump, you know, oh, we got to give him an A. We got to give him top class. That's why he said, I got words, I got great words. He doesn't even know how stupid he is. You know what I'm saying? Remind me of this movie called Happy Gilmore with Adam Sandler. His dad paid for him to get through school. And he was like, oh, I'm smart. Yeah. I want a spelling bee. He was like K-A-T. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, the K is silent or something like that. Like, he didn't know how to spell cat. He didn't know nothing. This is Esau. He's dumb, and the Most High has been like pumping him up to the point where he thinks he knows something. That means that fall is going to be dramatica. Man. So let's spiritually annihilate them. Let's talk about what's going on in their households because we don't talk about it. We talk about it sometimes, but let's really, let's think about it. You know what I mean? If you're having a bad day, right? Israelite, so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, having a bad day, it feels like I'm being oppressed. It feels like the weight of the world's on my shoulders. You know, I'm getting these thoughts in my head, oh, you're worthless, you're not good enough, this, that, and third. Those are spirits. You got spirits trying to get at you. You know what I mean? Trying to break down that hedge. What do? You know, like today we're gonna fast, right? Um, and we ask the Most High send those spirits to Melania Trump. How about Melania? You know what I mean? I was talking about before, send it to Donald Trump. He's gone already. Send it to Melania. You know what I'm saying? So the Most High will have her standing over top of him with something in her hand. You know what I'm saying? Just staring at him. He's like, Melania, are you okay? And she's like, what happened? I don't know what happened. She's getting vexed by spirits. Send them to her, man. You know what I'm saying? We got enough people online where I know you go through it, I go through it. Send them evil entities to somebody in his household. Send him to Barron Trump, you know what I mean? His youngest son. Send him to Donald Trump Jr. You know what I mean? Send it to his whole circle. So they're just falling apart. Pam Bondi, send him to her. Send him to Christy Nome. Send him to Cash Patel. Send him to Dan Bonagino whatever his name is. You know what I'm saying? Spiritual warfare. Get in the game, man. Don't be sitting on the sidelines. Let's go to war. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 9. It's wartime. They taking people out of buildings in Chicago at 4 in the morning and handcuffing children that are naked children and women and grandparents. They taking people out of their car because they look Hispanic. It ain't just Hispanics now. Yeah, Jake is getting a knee in his back as well. You know, by the federales. We always been getting it by the cops. Now it's by the federales. They know we ain't come from nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Slocky. They know we here. We ain't come from out of the country until like 400 years back. You know, we grandfathered in allegedly, but now they putting knees in our back. They telling women that are filming, get the F back, get the F back, and they coming with the guns and everything. Oh, they started this. And we gonna fight too. We ain't gotta physically do anything. Physically stop eating, stop drinking water. You know what I mean? Physically read the scriptures, physically sit back and meditate, physically throw up some prayers, throw up some curses. We gonna physically do that, but physically is like going out and going to war with ICE and all that. No, 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 no. We got our own wars. When we fight on our terms. Our weapons of warfare are not carnal, they're spiritual. All right, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 9. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, that be the Israelites, and he have care for his elect. So the Most High cares about us. You know what I'm saying? He makes sure that we're good. So let's return the favor. following these law, statutes, commandments. Verse 10. But the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imaginations. Whatever scares them, that's how they're going to be punished. They're scared of spiders, gonna wake up spiders all on them. They're scared of mice, and be mice everywhere. You know what I mean? They're scared of getting robbed. They're gonna be robbers in their house. They're scared of their children um, getting unalive. Their children gonna get unalive. Whatever they're afraid of, God knows, and He's gonna reward them. He's gonna punish them according to their own imagination, which have neglected the righteous and forsaken the Lord. They disrespect us and they disrespect the Most High. Let's see what's happening to them right now. Let's do you mind? Do you mind? Let's check that out. I guess I gotta say it again because, like I said, Esau doesn't even listen to his own.
It's haunted by
Slocky. He doesn't listen to his own follow his own laws. Okay, but Fair Use Act, Fair Use Act. This is for educational purposes only. Stop giving me copyrights when I say Fair Use Act. Dumb dumb. All right. All right, let's watch it. This happened one day in France, Edomiteville, USA.
Five official says there are a lot of fake accounts on there. The invisible guest. Tristan says that his house in France is haunted by a very active poltergeist. He often hears footsteps and sees things moving on their own.
You see them balls of light all over the place? Esau ain't doing too good, man. Now, how do you sleep with that? Look at that, John. He's landing right on him. That's being plagued by evil angels. Okay, the ones you see that you might see, flying around while I'm on this live stream,
After having a psychic medium come over to
they ain't evil. You know what I'm saying? They're ministering spirits, right? That come at the precise time, say something through the spirit, and they just like it's like a exclamation point, a stamp on it. Esau, not so much. He got them evil angels, right? So he calls a psychic medium. What do? If we have an infestation of evil angels, evil spirits around us, light some frankincense and myrrh, pray to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, call a fast. They can't do that. Do you know what I'm saying? He had to call a psychic medium. And let's see if the psychic medium helped at all.
After having a psychic medium come over to cleanse his house, the paranormal activity only gets worse.
Oh my gosh, it got worse. Mm. Nope, nope.
Late one night, Tristan hears strange aggressive banging coming from his hallway. He grabs his phone and starts filming as he goes to check it out.
That camera's shaking. Look at the cat. Cat like, you don't pay me enough for this. Lights going on and off. Yeah. What do you do with that? And trust, Esau not built, man. Esau will take his behind on top of the Eiffel Tower and sing R. Kelly, I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the bam. You know what I'm saying? Esau is not built. This happened at night. He can't sleep. You know what I'm saying? His car won't start. His wife left him. His cat clawed him in the middle of the night. Like he's just going to keep on. It's going to keep spiraling worse and worse and worse. Spiritual annihilation, destruction, obliteration. Get him out of here. You know what I'm saying? To the point where he's just, I don't care what happens next, man. I'm out of here, bro. You know? And you know how Esau get, he started falling in deeper and deeper depression. He's drinking, he got bottles on top of bottles, smoking his pot. You know what I'm saying? He's a doper, he's putting stuff in his veins. Esau getting, we call him white boy wasted. You know what I'm saying? Just for him to stop. Can you stop? But they don't stop. And they don't sleep. Those are evil angels at his side. All right. Let's continue because there's more.
The bathroom door handle is rotating wildly as his cat stares on in fear. Tristan approaches the door cautiously when suddenly it swings open and there's no one inside. Cut to a few nights later, and Tristan says that some shoes in the kitchen hallway had moved on their own. So he sets up a camera to film down the hallway while he and his girlfriend watch TV in the other room. His camera catches something that is pure nightmare fuel. A box flies out of a storage shelf and slams into the wall. Tristan goes to investigate, but he doesn't find anything. However, did you see it? When Tristan checks his footage later and zooms in on the doorway, there's a strange, transparent apparition just standing there. The figure is small, about the size of a child, and it quickly glides off into the hallway. Immediately after, the box violently flies off the storage shelf. These days, Tristan says nothing seems to be working to get rid of the poltergeist that haunts his home, and that now he's just planning to move out. The curse.
Don't matter where you going, they're gonna follow you there, Tristan. You ain't going nowhere, man. And they like the evil spirits was the evil angels was sitting there like, oh, you thought you was gonna hang out with your girlfriend? Oh, you thought you gonna Netflix and chill? No, this is every day. Every day. And wherever you go, they gonna follow. Nothing you can do about it. Let's say some prayers that Tristan, that things just continue to get worse for Tristan. Let's just pray on that. You know what I'm saying? Throw up some prayers that Tristan sees more of what he's seeing and, gets worse and worse. You see the picture on the video, you know what I'm saying, with the Russian Drago, Ivan Drago. If he dies, he dies. Man, y'all, what did Rocky say? They shed first blood, not me. You know what I mean? First Blood, that's a good movie too, right? Look at it from an Israelite perspective. You know what I'm saying? One man took on everybody, you know. But if you got the power of Yahweh Shem Shai, he ain't gonna let nothing happen to you. Let's get Sirach chapter 3 and verse 28. Yo, Citizens app is drawn. It is. Jake losing their mind. You know what I mean? Spiritual annihilation. If you want to destroy your own people and think it's, you get pleasure out of destroying your own people, then you're going to get destroyed. Simple as that. All right. Sirach chapter 3, verse 28. In the punishment of the proud, there's no remedy. I'm gonna move. Where you moving to? Where you going? Where you going? You going to Mars? You going down to was it see the Titanic? You ain't going nowhere. Stay right where you at and enjoy your judgment. Verse 28, in the punishment of the proud, there is no remedy. For the plant of wickedness have taken root in him. Okay? And that's just simple as that. Now, we are aware, hopefully, of Edward Snowden. He worked for the CIA. He explained to the world how the CIA watches everybody, right? Especially just normal people. You know what I'm saying? You're like, why would they watch me? That's a good question. Okay. Because you're an Israelite and they want to know what you're gonna do next. That's what Esau does. He did it to the so-called Native Americans, came in, watched them 50 years, what's going on, what they doing, learn their ways, learn how they plant, learn how they move their crops, learn how they store everything, learn how they survive the winters, and then massacre them all. Same thing he did in where's that? Modern day Iraq. You know what I'm saying? Gave Iraq, shaking Saddam Hussein's hand, sent what's that guy's name? I don't know, he's not important, but whatever his name was, diplomat over there, shake his hand and you need help with anything and blah blah blah, here we'll trade secrets or whatever they said. But then they end up finding them in a 50-foot hole, bombed his country, and hung him. So they're going to watch to see how they can overthrow you. So your cell phones, computers, you're an Israelite. It should be common knowledge that Esau's watching you, right? So it actually came out through the Trump administration that, you guessed it, Esau's watching. And when you look at the list that we're about to play of the people that they're watching, we can pretty much we're pretty much on there all that list. Like anti-Christian rhetoric. We say Christians are, pretty much one of the dumbest religions because they have a book that they don't read or can understand, and then they come against us that do read and do understand. So it just, when you see the list, you be like, okay, yeah, they're watching us. All right. Like I said, I got two copyright violations at 2 o'clock in the morning last night, or whatever you want to say this morning. So of course they're watching. All right, let's get Psalm chapter 37. Psalm 37. Somebody say something. Okay. Oh, mute your phone. Mute your phone. That's all right. I'll mute it for you.
Era un charo, lo que aquí, una porquería.
All right. Whatever that is. Okay. Let's kind of try to keep it on mute, guys. You know what I'm saying? If you have something to say, you can unmute, say Salakia, wait to be acknowledged, so forth and so on. But if we can just, Shalom, Elder. We just kind of keep this, you know what I mean? What do you call have decency and in order? That would be great. All right, so Psalm chapter 37, verse 32. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. So they're not watching you because they want to check out your style. You know what I'm saying? Let's see the new swag. You know what I mean? What's he's gonna wear his hat to the left or to the right? No, man, they're watching you because they're gonna try to take you off of here. All right. But of course, we got the Most High on our side, but just not be naive and think that they're watching just to see, the latest slang or whatever like that. Nah, they want to get us out of here. 32. The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. So when it's time for them to go, we gonna see it. Like Charlie Kirk is standing in front of everybody at the college on film. That thing went super viral. You know what I'm saying? We all saw it. And he was talking crazy about us. Like, oh, what do you mean the gang members? And boom, talking out the side of his neck and literally started talking out the side of his neck. Let's continue. Verse 35. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. And you can see that now. You know what I mean? The ICE agents in every city, they're going into Portland, they're going into DC, they're going into LA, they're going into Memphis. And then he said today, man, we're going to more cities. Okay. Verse 36. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. And that's what makes everything, we're able to um put on an equal playing field, right? Because even though they're above us right now in this kingdom, they still die. Do you know what I'm saying? They still can check at the drop of a dime, whether it be mini strokes that Trump is getting, whether it be some random rifle shot after somebody does their you know what I mean? All this, like, yeah, that was a weird thing what happened to Charlie, but hey, he ain't here no more. But either way, and they said it was only people, his own people that got it. Candace Owens is like, yo, this was the Zionists that did it to him. So as long as these things exist, people have health problems, bullets are still around, then it'd be best for Esau to act accordingly. But if he does, then he wouldn't be Esau. So let the Most High, you know what I mean? He keeps running into the brick wall until the Most High takes him out of here. Okay, let me read that again. Verse 36. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Other than Charlie Kirk having a birthday like yesterday or something like that, I kind of forgot about him. You know what I'm saying? If I'm like bidden and I bring him up, but he's, who cares? He ain't here no more. You know what I'm saying? But let's see what Esau is up to. This is important. Esau is up to some things. We got to keep in mind that it's a beautiful thing, Salakia. It's a beautiful thing to have information on what this devil tried to do secretly that's now throughout the light. Look at that, the curse of room 112. Let's go to the next video.
I want to highlight the powerful reporting by someone named Ken Klippenstein on NSPM-7. Have you heard of this National Security Presidential Memorandum 7? It was announced in the Oval Office and it was misreported elsewhere as just being one of Donald Trump's crazy executive orders that he talks about. But this is something far more serious, and Ken Klippenstein really drilled into it. When we talk about
We got to keep in mind, right? He said, I'll sign 100 bills on the first day or whatever like that. Now that's kind of got saturated. People are like, okay, sign another bill. What's the big deal? These are the bills that he's signing now.
NSPM-7, this National Security Memorandum. I also want to talk about this office space in Northern Virginia, affluent suburb, just 7 miles away from the CIA headquarters, where there is a threat screening center in order to screen purported threats arising out of this NSPM-7 of people who the Trump regime could consider having views that are anti-American, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the United States government, extremism on migration, extremism on race, extremism on gender.
whatever that means, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on religion, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on morality. And right now, where we see this Trump regime labeling anybody who shows up at the No Kings protest as Antifa, essentially they'd be saying, I believe, that any American who shows up and peacefully protests what they're doing, anyone who dissents could fit potentially one of these categories. Let me drill into this reporting from Ken Klippenstein. Trump's NSPM 7 labels common beliefs as terrorism indicators. New directives target anti-Christian, anti-American, and anti-capitalism opinions. So with the mainstream media distracted on everything else, Trump has signed this little notice national security directive identifying anti-Christian and anti-American views as indicators of radical left violence, called the National Security Presidential Memorandum 7. It's being referred to as NSPM 7 by administration insiders. This is the first time in American history that there is an all-of-government effort to dismantle left-wing terrorism, is what Trump's Homeland Security Advisor, Stephen Miller, said, referring to the issuance. To the extent that the major media noticed the directive at all, they, even C-SPAN, incorrectly labeled it an executive order, Ken Klippenstein writes, like this week's designation of Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. And as Ken Klippenstein writes, it's hard to overstate how much different NSPM 7 is from the over 200 executive orders that Trump frantically signed since coming back into office. An executive order publicly lays out the course of day-to-day federal government operations, whereas a national security directive is a sweeping policy decree for the defense, foreign policy, intelligence, and law enforcement apparatus, Klippenstein writes. National security directives are often secret, but in this case, the Trump administration chose to publish NSPM 7, only the 7th since coming into office. Now, you may also have seen Stephen Miller's appearance where he talked about Donald Trump having plenary authority to just do whatever the hell he wants. Here's what Miller said recently. Let's play it. And had this moment where it seemed like, I guess, according to CNN and him, there was a technical difficulty, but I'll let you be the judge of it. Here, play this clip.
You've called the district judge's ruling blocking the deployment of National Guard in Oregon legal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me? It seemed, Stephen, I apologize. It seems like we're having a technical issue. We'll try to fix that and get back.
You see that like the comedians that do that? Like somebody asks you to do something, you just freeze, like, you know what I mean? But like at the same time, his eyes are blinking, like he just stopped talking. Like, I'm not even gonna, y'all not even gonna believe this lie. So let me just stop talking. So his eyes are still blinking, he's still moving. Nigga, we can hear you, keep talking. But you know what I mean? We're in an authoritarian government right now, so let's continue.
Up to you.
Now, as I said, Ken Klippenstein also wrote about the secretive watch list center that's executing NSPM. You see this center right here, and they're the ones who are expanding this watch list, according to the FBI director. I want to bring in Ken Klippenstein of KenKlippenstein.com as well on Substack. He's been breaking a lot of major stories. A lot of whistleblower reports have been going Ken's way, and I would say some of the biggest stories we've seen so far have come from Ken. Ken, it's great to finally have you on the Midas Touch Network. Thanks for your reporting. Talk to us. How big of a deal is this NSPM 7, and why do you think it's gone under the radar, except from reporting by you and some other independent media, but you leading the way?
It's a huge deal, not just because of the language that you were just quoting directly from the memo, saying that it considers as indicators of future terrorist acts, anti-Christian sentiment, anti-government, anti-traditional family. Some of these groups, I don't even know what they mean, anti-gender. I mean, this is descriptors that would cover millions and millions of people in this country. And basically what that is doing, again, it's not an executive order, it's a national security presidential memorandum, is often classified. We're talking about NSPM 7, NSPM 6, we don't even know what it is because it's classified. There are very few of them. And the reason for that is because these are sweeping strategy statements that basically tasks the entire federal government to pursue a specific strategic goal over the remainder of the administration. And what this one did was it told basically federal law enforcement, all of those indicators that I was just describing, pay attention to those, make terrorism cases around those. And how this is going to be interpreted by the FBI and other federal law enforcement agencies across the country is that if you make cases around this articulated priority set around these indicators of terrorism, so-called, you're going to get promoted, you're going to get more resources for these things. And so this is a big picture, 10,000-foot view look at what the administration is prioritizing going forward. It is not the day-to-day of a lot of the executive orders that we've seen where they tend to focus more on small bore stuff, more on kind of ordinary daily government conduct. This is the strategy document telling them, hey guys, this is what we're going to be about for the next 3 years.
Right. So it's an instruction, not this broad policy position. And it is, you make this list of people. How big is it? Millions of people? Is it thousands? But make a list of people who fit this criteria. That's what they're doing in an office. These people are showing up every day in a secretive office, a few miles outside of Langley, Virginia. And they are what? Are they looking around at social media? Are they looking at podcasts? Are they looking at people giving speeches? Are they looking at people peacefully protesting? And they're creating a spreadsheet every day. This person, this person, this person, this person. And then that has impacts on those people's lives. And, what are we seeing in terms of, like, are law firms giving guidance? Are banks having to respond? Like, this is happening before our eyes, even though it's not getting enough attention.
Yeah, this is really a one-way mirror type situation where the federal government, via, like you said before, the Threat Screening Center, which handles the watch list, they have criteria and they have not just the list, but the terms that they use to add people to the list. Your presence on the list isn't even known by the person. All of this is happening in secret, so they can see what people are doing, but the public can't see what it is that they're doing. Now, historically, they focused on foreign terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, groups for which you could at least make an argument that it makes sense to have this kind of an aggressive approach. But in the case of the Trump administration, they are convinced, and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said this weekend, she said she thinks that Antifa poses the same kind of threat and is just as, quote, dangerous as those foreign terrorist organizations that I was just describing, despite the fact that it's not even clear it exists as an organized entity. And that's not my judgment. That is the judgment of Trump's first choice for FBI director, Christopher Wray, whom he appointed in 2017. So they're bringing this huge counterterrorism apparatus, this post 9/11 monolith, and dropping the hammer on this group, which it isn't clear that it exists. And it is not just Trump. It is his administration officials as well. He has the senior director for counterterrorism is Sebastian Gorka, who's also constantly saying things along these lines. You just quoted Stephen Miller. They're not particularly quiet about any of this. I think that part of the reason that it hasn't gotten the attention that it deserves is because it just sounds so crazy that I think people think that either you're being hyperbolic, even though all of this is quoted directly from that memorandum. I'm not editorializing here. This is all in government records that you can go online and find. I think that is part of the reason that it hasn't got the attention. Another part is so much of it is happening in secret. The watch listing authority that we described not being one that goes out and says, hey, here's who we're looking at, but you get clues. FBI Director Kash Patel, in testimony to Congress several weeks ago, said that there is a 300% increase in domestic terrorism cases. That is a huge increase. And so what it is that constitutes...
Now, in domestic terrorists, we can definitely agree that no white supremacists on those domestic terrorist lists, because the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, and you know, the mini Klan and all that, the people that the Patriot Front that went into the Capitol on January 6th, they got they're even though they're convicted felons in prison, they got their records expunged. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see ICE with Pooh Shiesty mask on, because that's them. You know what I'm saying? And anybody else that wants to abuse anybody that has brown skin. You know, so when he says 300% increase in domestic terrorism, we can almost assuredly come to the reasonable conclusion that the Klan and white supremacists aren't on that.
That we don't know because he hasn't said. Senator Alyssa Slotkin of the she's on the Armed Services Committee in the Senate. She had some good questions about this, where she asked the Trump administration nominee for Pentagon senior counsel. She said, "Hey, this list that you have, not just for foreign terrorist organizations but domestic groups too, this is all happening in secret. Are you going to tell us about it?" And he basically didn't answer. But we are just getting one sign after another that this is happening. It's not just the memorandum. It's not just something Trump said. You mentioned another example of something that's already happened, which is that major law firms, respected law firms in Washington, are instructing their clients to start comporting themselves, to start speaking differently so that you don't run afoul of this memorandum and have your tax status attacked, have the Treasury Department look at your cash flows, as it's actively doing right now in response to this memorandum. It tells the Treasury Department, go and look at organizations that might be supporting groups engaged in that list of indicators that I described earlier. And as a result,
So we can safely assume that Israelites are probably on that list. You know what I mean? You read the Bible, you read scriptures that the pastor doesn't read, then you know, you're frowned upon in the United States because this is a very wicked country. This is what this is. All right, so be aware of that. More indicators that, you know, would Ice Cube say we're behind enemy lines. All right. Now let's get to another story regarding a MAGA pastor. He is a pastor, a man of the cloth, quotes, that says we should kill black people or unalive. Because I say that, I don't want to say that to the, you know, get another strike, but they want to unalive black people. And he was very candid with it. And he even went to the scriptures. He said in Deuteronomy, it says if you have a rebellious son, so I guess we're the sons of these Edomites in their mind, and you know, he doesn't listen, you take him to the elders and then you off him. Like, hold on, can you say that? Yes, and they have been saying it, right? We have reports, obviously, through their going to church, and then after church they have a picnic and everything like that. You know, we got that message out there. Now, of course, Jake wasn't at in those churches because his behind would have been at the picnic next. So it was reported, you know what I mean? It was just, you know, it was understood that, okay, they put in the paper and everything. After church, we're going to have ourselves a picnic and They didn't hide anything. Now, you know, at one point in time, it was kind of frowned upon to say you're going to kill blacks, you know what I'm saying? But not now. So let's get to that. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 2. No, Salakia. Psalm chapter 50, verse 16. Apparently, you can get on the internet. I mean, if I get on the internet and say, you know, like now, so-called Black, Spanish, Native Americans are the real Jews according to the Bible, they're like, up, got a flag, red flag, strike, this, that, and the third. But this MAGA pastor can get in front of the world, which he did, and say, it's about time to unalive these so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? I think he really mentions the blacks, but, you know, he's coming at Judah. Very wicked. All right. Psalm chapter 50 and verse 16. But unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou should take my covenant in thy mouth. What are you doing talking about the Bible anyway? It ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? It actually condemns you. It talks about that your people are going to be completely destroyed after 1,000 years of hard, um, unrelenting, vicious, violent, barbaric. Um, I mean, I'm gonna be barbaric. So you're like, it's not barbaric, it's righteousness. I'm gonna be barbaric. All right. No holds bar, sun up to sun down. The Sabbath is over, get back to work. You know what I'm saying? You beat him. You beat him too. You know what I'm saying? Type of bondage. Double it up. Gator bait. You're gonna be lion food and 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 uh and a meal for rats. Like it's gonna be bad. Okay. Um the question remains, who are you to talk about the scriptures? Who are you to open your mouth? You know what I'm saying? But that's Esau, and that's going to condemn him because he has no business talking about the scriptures. All right, verse 17. Seeing that thou hatest instruction and canst, that's a Slakia. Can't you read my own handwriting? Let me get to the scripture. Verse 17. Let me start all over again. Psalm chapter 50, verse 17. Seeing thou hatest instructions and cantest my words behind thee, casteth my words behind thee, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and has been a partaker with adulterers. So Donald Trump, um, you know, 17 different baby mamas, 34, 17, give or take, 34 convicted felonies, would have people work on his buildings and not pay them, fraud charges, you know, just about everything you can think of. You know what I mean? Insurrection on the Capitol. So you ain't talking about that. The MAGA pastor misses all that. But anything that we do or alleges that we do, we got to get destroyed. You know what I'm saying? And that's not for nothing. We are getting destroyed. You know, the cops shoot us down without, having no gun, no knife, no nothing on us. If we do get caught, meaning so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans, do get caught doing something they have no business doing, immediately, if it's a homicide or something, they death penalty. There's a death penalty case. So it's not like it's not happening, but he wants it to happen to everybody. He's not just talking about those uh in our population that commit crimes, because they already do get in trouble. So he's talking about everybody. Verse 19. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frame deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thy own mother's son. You would think, and it's funny because you go out there in the streets and you talk about, white man's the devil the Bible speaks of, and he's going to get paid back by the Most High and everything. And then you got somebody come up, whether it be Esau or Jake, but God loves everybody. Let's all, let's have a one big hug and this, that, and the third, you know. But when something like this comes out, it's like we'll turn a blind eye to this. He's talking about unaliving us. We talk about what they have done previously. You know what I'm saying? We go back in the time, whether it's in the scriptures or in current events, that, Trayvon Martin, you know what I'm saying, Eric Gardner, bring up these names. But God loves everybody, and why are you being so mean? But the pastor talks about actively unaliving black so-called blacks. Not a peep. You know what I mean? You got to hear this from Undisputed, right? Let me get verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. Most High, like, look, you thought I was down with this? Do you know what I'm saying? He's the Caesar Bonjour. He's one of us. Let's read that again. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Though thou That's like it. Though thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. The reprove, chasten, convict, judge. That's coming. Okay. So let's watch this next video with Mega Pastor. That's almost like an oxymoron.
MAGA pastor has basically called for executing rebellious black youth. Here it is.
The actual number of blacks who are committing murder is more than whites. And whites are significantly greater, 60% compared to 13% of the population. Yeah. So if you just
It's not true. It's not true. Okay. Don't let them pump your head up with these numbers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like looking at a segment of the population, like say Chinatown. Look at the Chinatown in any city. Do you know what I'm saying? Say it has 1,000 people and they had 7 robberies. 7 robberies for those 1,000. It's like, oh, that's an astronomical number. You know what I'm saying? But when you go outside the entire country and how blatantly violent Esau is in Idaho, Oregon, do you know what I'm saying? Places we're not even at. Not saying somebody watching might know, oh, well, I'm from Idaho. It ain't a lot of you. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, they keep it that way. Places in Colorado, they massacred all of us that were there and kicked us out. So we ain't there right now. There's sundown towns. Once you get out of Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, it's far and few in between. So there's no violent crime. There's no homicides there. No. So they take us being 40 million of 300 million, and our violent crime statistic is low amongst ourselves. Do you know what I'm saying? Amongst them is higher. So this is like a trick that the devil plays. That's why you gotta be aware of statistics and numbers, and just know that they're lying. But let's continue.
if you take that, then you took a law like Deuteronomy 21, which is a just law that God enacted through Moses. The law was that if you had a rebellious son, you have a child they're coming up into their manhood and they're rebellious, they don't listen. He lists some characteristics and even though they're disciplined, they will not turn. He says the fathers to bring them out into the town square. This is a rebellious son, and then they stone him to death. They kill him. And an armed robber would certainly be one of those. Oh, absolutely. Armed robber, all the ghetto Violent culture. crimes. Basically, take ghetto culture, it would describe this to a T.
Look at his hair. You know what I'm saying? Look at his hair. Look at his mustache.
Couple more.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Salakia, King.
Khan.
Salakia. You know what? All you got
on your bad too.
Mute your phone. Mute your phone if you're not talking. Go ahead. Go ahead, Elder. Shalom.
Yeah, shalom. Salakia. All you got to do is look at the statistics. According to the statistics, Esau is the #1 serial killer. According to statistics, not Israel, Esau, #1 serial killer. According to statistics, Esau, the #1 pedophilia. This is FBI crime statistics. So I don't know where he's getting his statistics from. You can look on the FBI chart, and it will tell you who's likely to be a serial killer, who's likely to be a pedophile, whose family, according to the United States, they have pedophilia in their family more than any other people in the country. So I don't know where this clown is getting his statistics from. Like I said, this is FBI statistics.
Yeah, they're making it up. It's all, X has been a cesspool of white supremacist propaganda, and all they do is hear something once and they go up. That's my research. I heard that 13% of African Americans make up 50% of homicides. Don't have to look it up. I'm just gonna go with that. So, yeah, Ted Bundy, Ed Gein, uh, Gary Gilmore, they are prolific murderers. You know what I'm saying?
Salakia King, and also you got to remember pedophilia and that type of crime damages people forever. Meaning you take your childhood into adulthood. When somebody gets pedophiled and raped at a young age and taken advantage of at a young age, that will destroy them mentally. That's something that's hard to come over. They can't deal in a relationship no more. A lot of times, it's a myth. So they crimes is damaging the world. When you abuse a young child and that young child grows up and they become what an abuser themselves, right? That is damaging the world, the morals of what these Edomites do, man. So they really can't say nothing, man.
And they're very slick with their statistics. You know what I'm saying? Uh, when they kill somebody, it is involuntary manslaughter, or it's a lesser charge. With us, it's automatically first, murder one. Automatically, you know what I mean? And murder two and murder three. They charge us a million times over. You know what I'm saying? So those statistics are skewed. You know what I'm saying? They don't ever talk about the missing people. In Virginia, it's like 40,000. I don't know how many. A lot. A lot of so-called blacks are missing in Virginia. Do you know what I'm saying? And there's I haven't seen any investigation. I haven't seen any, task force to go over there because they know who's doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? People just don't go missing in the country. Like you're still in the country unless you took a plane ticket somewhere or whatever like that. But that's why, Esau will take the sheep that's walking by itself, that's by themselves, and then now they got you. You know what I'm saying? People have lived to tell the story and came back and said, this is what happened to me. The Benjamite brother went out hunting with Esau, had 9 shots in his back. They don't get charged. You know what I'm saying? The so-called black woman went to a sleepover with Esau, found dead on the front lawn. Nobody's charged. So it's the DA, it's the coroner, it's everybody that's in on it. Be like, nah, no foul play. Don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And then once the DA, it makes a big deal about it. Think about with George Zimmerman, how people had to wear their hoodies and LeBron James, and they're all protesting on Instagram, and like these are big name people protesting. They're like, all right, fine, we charge him. But what happened? He gets off. They get off, so they don't get charged with crimes. But when they do, they have a jury of their peers or the judge that lets them off. It was a guy, Mark Dow, police officer in Philadelphia, that shot Eddie Ingales. I don't want to mess up his last name, but his name was Eddie. They pulled him over, shot him in his car, and they said, "Oh, he had a gun." Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and in his car, they found like a knife underneath the seat or something like that. Like, oh, there it is. It looked like a gun, and this, that, and the third. But they had the body cam footage, which they don't want to show. You know what I'm saying? You have to protest and burn down the city to show the body cam footage. And he just hopped out the car, don't move, boom, 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 and shot him. You know what I'm saying? And he did get charged eventually, right? The judge, who's friends with or his the judge who's cool with his lawyer, the lawyer that he got helped her in a divorce proceeding. She dropped all the charges. People like, yo, what the hell happened? And then of course, riots happen and everything like that in the city. And then of course, not of course, but another big earthquake happened in Drake Passage, 6.6. Um, he got recharged, right? But then he got convicted or something to that effect, or whatever the lesser charge, and it got time served. Killed a young man, got time served. He did like a year maybe in jail. So all the statistics are skewed. You know what I'm saying? But this is how Esau works, and for unlearned Israelites, you're like, oh, well, I guess we are more violent than them. And nobody was more violent than Ted Bundy. Nobody was more violent than BTK. Bind, torture, and kill. That was his name. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a video with his daughter. He growing up right where everything was going on, or living right where everything was going on, had a family. He was in the Scouts. He was at the Christian Lutheran Church. You know, he was not a pastor, but you know, he had a position in the church. You know, he was a compliance officer. This dude killed people for like 30 years since 74. And I think he got caught like 2005 because of a floppy disk that had his information on it. 30-year reign of homicides. Jake ain't doing that. Jake is going to the bar, somebody steps on his new Jordans and he's letting it fly. Or Jake is trying to take over a block and this guy's selling drugs and they start shooting it out and that's what happens. Nobody in our and as an Israelite, that's the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, is killing somebody for 30 years. I think it was one guy they called the Grim Sleeper. That guy was nuts. You know what I'm saying? But 1 out of 40 million compared to Ed Gein, uh, um, what's the other guy's name? Or Ted Gein, I think his name. Kepler. Um, what's the clown? You know what I'm saying? He had children's bodies underneath his house. Who was the other guy? Jeffrey Dahmer's eating people. You know what I'm saying? So they got a lot of nerve. They don't even look at themselves of what they do. All right. But let's continue on. Matter of fact, let's get um Psalm 59. Let's keep watching though.
You guys are ridiculous. If you recall, and I'm utilizing the context of the Bible that you just referenced in order to justify murdering child. Let's utilize that same text. Remember the story of the prodigal son? And the prodigal son left lawless living, etc., came back. Well, that was the rebellious son. Christ was talking about the same Old Testament dynamics that you were discussing, except Christ said before, the kingdom of God is thus. You've been told it was this. He was actually contradicting the Old Testament in an ironic way. I'm contradicting you as well. When that son came back, he was not stoned. When that rebellious son came back, he was greeted outside of the city gates by the father and hugged immediately, likely so that nobody would stone him, and brought his son in to his home personally. That is what the Bible actually says, the parable of the prodigal son. You all have hijacked the meaning of it to an antiquated symbolic dynamic that somehow justifies your seemingly murderous thoughts against Black children, and I won't stand for it. You will not hijack my faith, and you will not mislead individuals into believing that somehow that murderous content that you just shared or had will stand without challenge. And I welcome you bozos on the bullpen anytime. The invitation will remain for the rest of the year. Put them on full mask. Christian nationalist pastor Brian Suave calls for the rebellious young Black men to be executed by the state. He claims that it's in the Bible, okay? And I just explained where they were incorrect on the passage. That was Christian nationalist pastor Brian Suave and Eric Kahn. Not sure who the hell gave them a microphone to spout this horrific way of thinking. Also, for the record, according to the United States Sentencing Commission, 57%, almost 60% of sexual assault abusers were white. 74.6% of offenders in cases involving production of child inappropriateness by way of video were white. 53.3% of offenders in cases involving travel for prohibited sexual contact were white. And according to the Innocence Project, nearly 60% of the people that the Innocence Project has helped to free and exonerate since 1992 have been Black, despite the fact that Black people account for only 13.6% of the U.S. population. Once again, gentlemen, I invite you all to come to the bullpen anytime in order to express your sentiment or rebuttal. During a recent episode, the King's Hall podcast, Pastor Brian here argued that the United States government should enforce what he called just laws from the Bible, including those found in Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 1. The passage instructs parents to bring a disobedient son before the town elders to be stoned to death for being, well, you see, guys, for eating too much and being drunk. If we held that standard, you all would have been dead 2 years ago, 3, maybe 20. Who wouldn't? All of us would. Yeah, for being drunk, sir, and for being gluttonous was the prerequisite for the stoning. Now, you would like to bring that back, or are you talking about some other version that you've decided to create and then utilize said scripture to back your play? That is old and antiquated. You know, those who thought they could own Africans had a similar approach to the Bible as well. Do you think the holy wars were holy? You see, the scripture has been used many times in many contexts from many cultures, from the Quran.
All right, so y'all get the picture. You know what I'm saying? So the pastors in MAGA, the Edomite pastors, we're actually able to see in in full light and dialogue through his podcast, the things that they used to say before having a picnic and picking any nigga, lynching them, shooting them, castrating them, and lighting them on fire. We get to see that now in full force on the internet. So nothing has changed. All right, let's go to Psalm chapter 59, verse 1. And we ask the Most High, of course, right? Deliver me from mine enemies, O my God. Defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity and save me from bloody men. Those are bloody men. You know, it doesn't matter. It's justified through
Kasaja,
scriptures. So, what do you say? Salakia.
Salakia, real quick, have you, I know we're gonna get to it, but have you seen how they been fighting up against ICE, man? In
What's that?
Chicago, have you seen the videos how they going up against ICE, man? How they fighting against them, the people?
Khan.
Have you been checking that?
Khan.
Yeah, it's crazy, King. Now go ahead. I know you're gonna get to that, but that's crazy right there, brother. How they, they fighting against the devil, man. They fighting back.
Khan. I seen that. Yeah, they're throwing throwing the tear gas back and everything like that, but I ain't seen switches yet. So, Chicago said they were going to have switches. I missed it, with the switches.
Yeah, King. But I think it was Issachar that they been jumping in there, like trying to snuff them and all of that, man. Like a battle royal, man. It's kind of funny, King.
Khan, I'm gonna look out for that. I'm gonna look out for it. Khan. Verse 2. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity and save me from bloody men. And those are bloody men. Esau is the bloody men. Verse 3. For lo, they lie in wait for my soul. The mighty are gathered against me, not for my transgression, nor for my sin, O Lord. Verse 4, they run and prepare themselves without my fault, awake to help me, and behold. Okay, so when you have the president that's saying these things, you have their pastors that are saying these things, you can see through the think tanks, the legislation written up through these things, then, of course, we need Yahweh Shem Shai. We need to follow the law. We need to fast. We need to pray. We need to meditate. We need to do these things because our weapons are not carnal, are spiritual. Now, let's watch this next video. It's kind of crazy, all right? But this class is called Spiritual Annihilation. What is on its way? You're gonna see. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 6. Some things don't Some things might not make sense to some people. That's fine. But this is for the people that it does make sense for. Okay? 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 6. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of the world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. But we speak the wisdom of Yahweh in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which Yahweh ordained before the world unto our glory. Okay, so let's watch this next video, and you let me know what you think. Man, listen, I ain't gonna say nothing. Just watch it. Block you. Let's go about right here because he starts talking in the more. It's a long video. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, but I just want to get the gist of what is happening.
Time. And let me just show you this live stream which is going on right now. The channel is called Live Meteors.
There we go.
And this one's called Live Meteors live stream. There's 73 people watching at the moment. This is the live stream. What you're seeing here now is, from what I can guess, because I'm no expert, right? This is obviously the space. Now, these are potentially either like asteroids, meteors, space debris, space junk, things like that pop up, okay? And they are echoes. You see it in a long line, it's an echo of it, right? Almost like a radar. So down here is the sound waves. So when you're listening to space and listening to the area, when something happens, sometimes you see these peaks come up right here, okay? And this is, you actually hear it. Let me turn the sound on. This is what it sounds like. And up here, I think that is just a visual representation of what we're seeing here. Because when you see an anomaly come down, you see a spike come up here, okay? I mean, I would imagine this is sort of some sort of like a heat source of some sort on the right-hand side here. But as you can see, it's going. Not much is happening right now, okay? But I went over to TikTok today, right? And this dude just turned up. AZ Desert Rider 26. AZ, I would imagine that's like maybe Arizona Desert Rider 26. And there's something about this that makes me feel like I really need to talk about it, because this guy, if you look at his channel on TikTok, this is literally all he does, right? This is what he does. This dude looks into stuff. What he's seen is, in his mind, breaking news and needs to be shouted about. So, for entertainment purposes, I'm going to support this guy and say, okay, what have you got, mate? I'm going to spread it for you. Because for what I've seen so far, what he's seen is absolutely crazy, okay? He has basically claimed, but in fact, just listen to it, right? Listen to this. This is his recent, and I'm going to go back and forth with his channel because there's some like information there which I think will paint a good picture for you to understand the severity or the magnitude of what we're seeing here, okay? Listen to this part first. This is where he's showing a little bit of frustration because he feels like he's being shadow banned.
All right, everyone. So they shut me down. They shut me down for 7 days. So, yeah, I can't live stream. I got to start a new account. I'm going to go start AZ Desert Rider 27. Please go follow. Get it up to 1,000 followers so I can go live again, or 1,000 likes. I will start posting videos. They are going to shadow ban it. They are going to make it hard for you to find this account. This is the only way I can keep the live stream going for the next 7 days till they unblock the account, because they're not going to unblock it. They already didn't overturn the appeal. They're going to keep me silent for 7 days. This is because I tell the truth.
Right. So with this thing still going off, right, in real time, well, 400% speed, and what he's saying here now, he's basically saying there is a huge fleet of ships. Now, listen to this. This recording, by the way, that you're seeing is an hour and a half. And I stopped it because I was like, I ain't recording any more than an hour and a half of this. All right. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. Part one.
Like I said, you'd see the interference, and then a big one would come in, and here it comes. I said it before I got off my live stream on YouTube. I called it, and here it comes in. I told you this. I told you. I called it before I got off my YouTube. Guys, this is not Mother Nature. This is something else. This does not make any noise.
Because that's interesting what he said there. He says this is not making any noise. Because what I've seen so far, when sometimes you see like a circular dot, maybe about that big, and it's this color. That would be like a meteor, which he later on he shows you in a different video. I'll probably find for you. But when you see that, it just goes boing, or whatever sound is, right? It just goes boing, or something. It makes some weird sound. This is not making a single thing. That natural sort of like ambient sound is just literally, well, what it is, ambient sound. But it gets more interesting. I know that you've got a bunch of questions, but also these are not necessarily just stars. Sometimes you get like a flux of like heavy white dots and stuff. That can also be it's like almost like wind of some sort, interference. It's not necessarily just stars that you're seeing. It's just basically just interference, almost like when you're trying to tune in on a television station, like back in the day. Yeah.
But you're
And
about
it feels so good when you just got it right and it's a crystal clear screen. Anyway.
to see. Holy cow. Hold on a second. Oh.
Right, okay. So let me just show you something else what he put together. The question I'm sure some of you are asking is, why is this a ship then? Right? Explain to me why you're saying this is a ship. Here we go. So back before this thing went, this is still going on, by the way, right? This is still going on at 400% speed.
So you're aware, this is what a normal meteor signature looks like, normal operation. That's what a normal meteor looks like coming in. This is normal operation of this whole site, okay? Don't mind the reflections from the windows, okay? This is normal operation. There's no white static. There's no horizontal lines. None of the anomalies or shapes that we see come in until you get white static and horizontal lines. Then you will start to see objects, communication, or other things possible. But so you're all aware, this is normal operation. This is what it usually looks like compared to the videos that I'm showing you the anomalies in so that you're all aware, okay? This is the website. You guys are coming here asking me 1,000 times.
Now, let me try and find you what he thinks a spaceship looks like.
So this is a ship, okay? And the reason I'm saying this is a ship, listen to me very closely. When this thing throws out a radio signal, it's looking to get an echo from that radio signal, okay?
Lights
For
on, man.
an echo to return, there has to be structure there, okay? There has to be structure there to get an image so that it can give you this image to begin with.
Slakio, you said something?
Where you live. All these lights.
If it wasn't the case, then you wouldn't have a scale here to see your density. You get it? So this is a ship, okay? This left one is yellow. This one was probably yellow. They're probably cooling down. They shut them off, and this is probably the center of the ship where they are. So there's going to be a heat signature there. People, you don't understand. Like, there's no way that meteors should be doing this. They shouldn't be making this structure if there's nothing there to echo from. It should just be a single straight line coming in. Anything that's creating an echo and showing an image of something off the sides of these things, they have to be structured there. There has to be something there for the echo to echo off of.
Which brings me on to something in a second, okay, that you're going to see. You may have even seen it along here, all right?
This is not hard to understand. These images wouldn't be here if there was no structure to echo back. That's why these are ships. They're not characteristic of a typical meteor signature on this platform.
So basically, like almost like a sonar, right? Is firing out and bouncing back. This is clearly not what it is because it's radio, but it can. What it's bouncing back is something here, here, and here, right? As well as here. If there was nothing there, it would just carry on. It would just look like this. This is pretty much what he's saying.
Look at this. This is enormous. This is like the biggest thing I've ever seen.
That's what she said. It's all right. Like why the brakes? Why the brakes? Is that because of it's just like interference where it doesn't quite show you the solid structure, then it comes back in? Is it maybe like the height of this thing? Is it separate fleets? Is it multiple?
It's not picking up on the frequency. This has to be a ship. You're going to see structure here in a minute. You're going to see it start to pan out, and you'll start to see structure there. Listen to how dense this thing becomes. It's so dense, it can't even pick it up. Like, these are heat sources, people. It's not even registering on the graph. This ship is coming in cloaked, completely cloaked. This has to be one. Like, this is one ship here. These have to be all ships that are coming in cloaked. They're not even showing any signature here.
Okay, so there's one ship. So
They're not even showing any signature at all. I called it. I called it on YouTube. Everybody that was on the YouTube channel, they know, they're on my live, they know I was right. I called it. These are ships. I told you a big fleet was going to come in.
Like, is this actually real? Is this happening? So I was actually thinking, right, okay, I've got to try to find out what is going on here. Has this happened before? And I did find something, right? I'm going to show you in a minute, but I want to I'm going to let this play.
This is unbelievable. And it's still going on.
I'll edit it so you see the best bits. But this is actually, this particular one here is 6 minutes, 14 seconds. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but look at this thing. This is incredible. And now this is important here.
This is a ship. Their structure here.
Yeah, here.
This
These
is
lines.
a ship. Their structure right here. Something has to be creating a reflection. This is a massive ship. I bet this thing is massive. I bet this thing is incredibly massive. You can see a little
So
bit.
he's saying that the ship could potentially be out here, but because it's just not showing any heat signature apart from this middle bit. Like, what the actual F is going on?
Here on each sides of it. This is insane.
Has this ever happened before? Like I said.
All right. So this it's a lot more to that. So you want to go check it out. It's on the playlist. It's Iraq 20 and 6. Yeah. Okay. So there's that large fleet of anomalous objects on route, right? So the next video, which I wanted to talk about, was, I think I talked about this last week, possibly, or maybe a while back, but it's important. Maybe it might have been Sabbath, but what's important is that during this conversation that you're going to see with Avi Loeb, right? This is on Newsmax. During the conversation, the reporter or whoever's doing the interview says they're on their way to Earth, right? Now, when we first, started looking at Three-Eye Atlas and everything, it says, okay, it's gonna go on this certain plane that's, it's 1 out of 20,000 that is natural, and all these things that we discussed with Three-Eye Atlas, right? But it says it's not going to go anywhere near Earth. But then maybe a month ago, 3 weeks, whatever, start talking about it changed direction. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. You can't, it's not, meters don't do that. If they're going this way, they're going to continue to go that way, and that's that. It doesn't change direction. It's not like a car where you can stop and change, turn the wheel, whatever like that. And also, if it's not a meteor, this is very important. If it's not a meteor, then what else could it be? You know what I'm saying? If you have a vehicle here on Earth, it might be a car, might be a motorcycle, it could be a boat, could be a bike. You know what I mean? You have options. There's no options when you get into the heavens. It's either a rock or it's not. And if it's not, then what else could it be? You know what I'm saying? So let's get Deuteronomy 32, verse 35. Because it's not being talked about as much as you think it is through the channels, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. It's not. It might be a segment here or there, but when you talk to somebody who watches mainstream news and you ask them about Three-Eye Atlas, they're like, what is that? So in order for something like Operation Blue Beam to work, it has to be implanted in people's heads over and over and over again. It's not. NASA turned off their cameras and said, oh, it's a government shutdown. We can't see anything. They didn't say that. They just didn't put anything out. And the only thing that that was put out was through the Europeans. Okay. So you have Operation Blue Beam, granted, but you also have things like called Operation Northwood, right? If you ever heard of that, Operation Northwood talked about blowing up a what's it called? Airplane, and blaming it on Cuba so they can invade Cuba. Did they do it? No, but they had an operation for it. So just because they have an operation for it, don't mean it's going to happen. Okay, it's very important to keep that in mind. So here's what you have. You have think tanks. All right, look at all these think tanks. These are what this is how we're going to do this. How we're going to do the alien invasion. This is the order of operations, the Operation Blue Beam, Operation this, that, and the third. All these think tanks, like I said, the the wicked don't go to sleep unless they've done something wicked first. Okay, and this is what they do. They think of things that they can give to the U.S. government that could scare people into submission, so forth and so on. All right. But just because there's a pamphlet for it, which they have probably millions of different operations, doesn't mean they're going to do it. And at least if we're thinking people, right? They have to have the population on board. You know what I'm saying? They have to, keep giving you little bites here, little bites here of UFO invasion. Oh, da 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 da. That Avi Loeb isn't really on the mainstream like that. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that I see him on Newsmax, what do you call like independent journalists, so forth and so on, because his people think he's crazy. You know what I mean? It's not promoted like you think it's promoted. Okay, but this guy in Newsmax brings up the fact that that they're on their way towards Earth. And it's the only time I heard anybody say anything like that. And that's why we're playing it now. Okay. Okay. Deuteronomy 32, verse 35. To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time. For the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that come upon them make haste. There's a large UFO fleet on its way. There are a comet that's not a comet on its way with other comets, apparently on its way to Earth. Let's watch this. Oh, Slovakia, I don't mute.
Watch Finnerty, you will be familiar with this next story. Right now, as we speak, 3I Atlas, an enormous glowing object the size of Manhattan, is speeding toward Earth on what appears to be a planned, coordinated trajectory. It's going so fast that you could fly from New York to Los Angeles in just 1 minute. Now, conventional scientists say that it's just a comet. Of course, they're going to say that. But it's doing things that comets just don't do. No comet we've ever seen. So what is it? Joining us now to answer that question, Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb, and member of the House Oversight Committee, and someone who took part in the UAP hearings just last month, Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett. Gentlemen, great to have you back on. Dr. Loeb, I want to start with you. October 3rd is an important date in this 3I Atlas saga. Why is today so important, and what are we now learning about this thing?
For a simple reason, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And we are about to get the highest resolution images of 3I Atlas when it comes within 29 million kilometers from Mars.
So like I said, not Mars. Let me get this picture. NASA turned off their cameras. So that should tell you something. Something has to click in like, wait, what? You know what I mean? It's waiting for this. October 3rd, it's going to be closest to Mars. They got cameras, they got satellites that observe Mars. They should be able to turn them easily to see what this looks like. They didn't. They turned off the cameras and said it's a government shutdown. Donald Trump said he's not allowed allowing the Republicans to even talk to the Democrats. They're not even trying to reopen the government. Could they be doing that just because of something they've seen or what they know was on its way? Of course, because that will let them know that they are not the strongest in the world on the planet. So here's what this is what the European satellites picked up. Doesn't quite look like a comet, does it? Looks like it has structure. Look at that. Stop, go, stop, over. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is what we're dealing with. Let's go back to what he said, because this is before that, because everybody was thinking, oh, we're going to see what it looks like. Nope. America said that's not going to happen. If you haven't done any research on it, it's not something you necessarily want to talk about and, explain to the world how much the lack of knowledge you have on this particular subject. You know what I mean? I hear brothers saying like, nah, man, ain't nothing. This is a comet. You haven't done any research. You know what I'm saying? You might have saw one YouTube video and think, I know about this. But these will be the same people that said COVID is fake and it's all 5G. Can't forget about that. And it's not like brothers come back and say, oh, I was wrong. I apologize. Because I'm able to be wrong as well. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be humble enough to say I was wrong in this situation. People are still doubling down. You know what I'm saying? That's off. All right, let's continue.
There are several orbiters, one that was deployed by NASA around Mars, and it has a camera. This camera is called HiRISE that will be able to resolve 3I Atlas with a 30 kilometer per pixel resolution. So we will learn much more about it in the coming days, and hopefully the data will be out soon. Science is fun because we can learn from evidence. So far, there are 7 anomalies of this unusual object. The size is very large. It's larger of all the size of Manhattan Island. about 1,000 times more massive than the previous interstellar comet, about 33 billion tons, at least that mass. There was a jet coming out of this object towards the sun. Unlike a cometary tail that usually goes away from the sun, there was an unusual chemical composition containing mostly nickel without iron. There was a polarization of light never seen before for comets. And the trajectory of 3I Atlas is aligned with the plane of the planets around the sun. The arrival time was fine-tuned to come very close to Mars today, and later to Jupiter and Venus. And and also I noticed that the arrival direction of 3I Atlas was coincident with the direction from where we got the most powerful radio signal back in 1977 that was called the WOW signal, still unresolved.
From Sagittarius, and it comes from that direction, although we don't know the plane, but it comes from that direction in the solar system. So basically, Congressman, I know you just heard all of that. Dr. Loeb wrote the UN about this, saying this should be looked into. We're going to have the best pictures we've had yet from Mars of this thing, unless the government hides them from us, which they could do. Have you...
Which they have done, okay?
Been briefed on this, Congressman?
I have not. And I tell you, one of the reasons I admire so much Dr. Loeb is what he said. We can learn from science. He's not one of these arrogant jerks out there that looks down upon everybody else. He actually enjoys explaining it to folks like myself. He's a hero in this movement. And he's also a pretty brave guy because he takes some pretty tough stands with his scientific data. This is the kind of thing that we need to be briefed on. You got to wonder what our scientific community, NASA and all the rest are doing right now. I realize there's a shutdown going on, but this is occurring before the shutdown. And
this thing is heading our direction, Congressman. I just want to ask you about one other issue while I have you. Sorry to cut you off, sir. You received intelligence that suggests that there are perhaps deep water alien bases right now sitting on the ocean floor on this planet. Is that accurate?
I would say that's pretty accurate.
Can you go into more detail? How long have they been here? Where are they?
Well, I'm extrapolating all this with my East Tennessee vernacular. So we've got five or six deep water areas of our oceans. We actually know more about the surface of the moon than we do about these areas. And these are areas where we have a high frequency of UFO or UAP sightings. We've had naval folks have told me pretty high up that they've actually tracked these things. Now, we have stuff that can go underwater probably 30 to 40 miles an hour, maybe something a little faster that the Chinese haven't stole from us yet. And we've tracked things big as a football field going 200 miles an hour. Now, I realize in the water you extrapolate that to knots and all that, but just for good old East Tennessee common sense, 200 miles an hour is something the size of a football field. And we don't know what it is. And these are in these areas. So yeah, there's something going on there. And whether it's something that's been here for millennial or whatever, and I'm not afraid of it. I'm kind of like Dr. Loeb. I love to study this kind of stuff. It's the scientific material there he's the one that disclosed some things that were found that were extraterrestrial in our oceans. And, he's brave enough, I believe, to come forward with those. So,
let's go Psalm chapter 18 and verse 11. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. All right. So him saying that, the chariots are in the ocean matches right on with the Bible. And we already know they're in the skies as well. Okay. And real quick, let me see if I can line this up. I'm watch the very beginning of this video because it talks about in Antarctica, right? We'll go back to the other previous video. This is not in order, right? But this is in Antarctica, what was seen recently.
Guys, hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. In this video, we're going to take a look at the list of anomalies surrounding the 33 billion ton object being identified as a comet, but nobody really thinks it is because it doesn't necessarily look like one. We're also going to talk about another comet, Comet Atlas, K1 Atlas, that nobody's really talking about. We're going to come back and take a look at all this information here in just a moment, and we're going to keep it under 5 minutes. But first, an observation that was made down in Antarctica, actually Antarctica, New Zealand, Australia, these huge rings spanning over 6,000 miles wide look like some sort of a frequency. Could these be attributed to the incoming comets? Could they be attributed to the unique planetary alignment that the Earth is currently in right now as I do this video? It sure makes you wonder if this 33 billion ton object is having some sort of a possible influence on the planet. Now for a quick.
All right, so that's one to bring that out. Very interesting.
West when the family feels.
Very interesting things. Okay. A lot of stuff going on nowadays. All right, we got a couple more. So let's talk about Jake. You know what I'm saying? Jake is wilding out. You know what I'm saying? Brother got hung in Mississippi. So what we gonna do? We're gonna party. We're gonna party for homecoming, and a lot of people got shot in Mississippi. A lot of people got shot in Mississippi. And in another southern state, I can't think of which one it was. They'll talk about it. But let's get Exodus chapter 31 and 13. The Lord is very clear on what we should be doing on the Sabbath, and it's not partying. Okay, so during these homecomings, the football game and the parties, Friday night, Saturday during the day, it's a big party. But once we know better, we got to do better. We're not in the time period where we, want to be, not paying attention to these things, right? And, the Most High is sending a death angel over there. All right, so Exodus chapter 31 and 13, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doeth sanctify you. Verse 14, ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. So this is what happened one day in Mississippi. I don't know, they'll talk about the other one too. But to stay alive, we gotta listen to the Most High.
Damn, look at that. Switches in the page. Damn.
Bulls hitting off the fence.
Oh. There's so many of my workers. This makes no sense. Yeah, brother, I said, what? You know what I'm saying? Just left Leland. Bodies on the ground, man. We gotta do better. We got to do better. You know what I'm saying? An event like homecoming, it's supposed to be safe and a good event. But we shouldn't end up here. We shouldn't end up here. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, these the ones that make it. I just love leaving. It's like 7 bodies laid out there on the ground that didn't make it. Girls, kids, guys, you know what I'm saying? It's senseless, man. If you were standing next to somebody and you seen something, man, or you seen somebody who's doing that shooting, man, report that.
Were present to discuss the mass shooting that occurred Friday night. 6 people are confirmed to have died. 4 of them died on the scene, and 2 more succumbed to their injuries.
Today we visited a place that need our undivided attention and as many prayers as possible. In this video, we're not going too far from Alabama, a place we just covered not even a week ago after that tragic mass shooting that followed the homecoming game. But this time, we're crossing the state line into Mississippi. And I ain't talking about one homecoming, not 2, not even 3. before. I'm talking about multiple homecomings, all tied to black schools, HBCUs, high schools, and a tight-knit community where everybody knows everybody. We're gonna visit some small Mississippi towns where love still lives and neighbors still wait, and where crime usually don't make the front page. Family, break my heart to know in the last 24 hours, 9 people.
Now you got to ask yourself, right? If this was the Klan that did this, it would mobilize us, right? People were like, nah, man, we ain't gonna let this happen, you know, this, that, and the third. But the fact that I didn't see any mobilization, that means everybody know who did it. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, Jake, seen Jake, got a switch, started shooting, and it just, you know, from there, bodies is dropping. You know, and that's unfortunate because people would say that to me, you know what I mean? Like, well, the white man, how come the white man did it? Everybody's upset, and, you know, and I would defend that, but there's no defending this. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people died, you know, a lot of people got shot. And it's a strong possibility that it was our people pulling the trigger. You know what I'm saying? And that can be avoided by being at the right place at the right time. And the right place is not celebrating anything on the Sabbath, unless it's a feast day, of course. We were having a good time on the Sabbath during the Feast of Tabernacles, right? We celebrate, it's a feast. But when it comes down to it, you know, they weren't at Feast of Tabernacles. They were at the feast of smoking, drinking, and having a good time. And you see how it turned out.
Gone. Over 2,000 shots reportedly fired. More than 20 others were hit. 3 separate scenes, all connected by one thing. Celebration turned to chaos. Now, when I first heard about it, I thought it was one isolated situation. Then another report came in, and another one after that. So I waited a full 24 hours before coming here, because I wanted to bring you everything I could possibly find at once, with facts only. So as always, in this video, we paying our respects. Today we speak from the heart, because we're supposed to be time of joy, pride, and unity, turned into tragedy and heartbreak. We're talking about high school students, young adults, and families just out trying to enjoy their homecoming weekend. Authorities say one person of interest is already in custody. We'll go over who that is, what's public, and what we know so far. Let's try to remember this, fam. When we cover these stories, it's not to point fingers or place blame. It's to bring awareness, to spark conversation, and to remind us what's really going on in our communities. So before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. This past Friday, several Friday night shootings in Mississippi at high school homecoming celebrations left multiple people dead and injured. The first shooting happened in Leland. It occurred on Main Street where 16 people were shot, leaving at least 4 dead after school's homecoming game. And before we go over the details, I want to briefly talk about each place we're going to visit in Mississippi. As mentioned, it's relatively small as far as the community. Now, Leland, Mississippi is located in Washington County, Mississippi, part of the Mississippi Delta region. It's about 10 miles east of Greenville, or roughly 2 hours from Jackson. It sits right along U.S. Highway 82 and have a population of around 4,000 residents, majority African American. Home of Leland High School and Leland Elementary, both serving as community anchors. The town celebrates local football and marching band culture. Friday nights are big community events. And this past Friday was Leland High School homecoming. After winning the game, people went out to celebrate. Shortly past midnight, gunfire erupted, leaving 4 people DOA on the scene. Over 10 people were shot. 2 later died at the hospital. The Washington County Coroner's Office later identified the victims as LaQuisha Washington Johnson, 41, Calvin Plank, 19, Chappelle, 25, Caitlin Johnson, 18, Amos Brinkley, 18, Jermichael Jones, 34. May all 6 victims rest in peace and love and condolences to their families. Concerned citizens nearby have recorded the aftermath. Check it out.
Damn, look at that. Oh my God. Oh, this shit crazy. So crazy. 3 bodies right here. Shot. Leaving homecoming. 3 bodies.
The girl was talking, and she was like, "Son, help me." I come back, walk past, come back. They threw a white motherfucking sheet over her and say, "She gone." Smother box, body down. Come on, we gotta do better. You your homecoming, man. Switches and all that shit, man. Stupid shit. Oh, somebody here ain't coming home. Party back.
Hey, could you tell stop going live? You right here on that phone, man. We don't need none of that. Don't do that. Don't going live. Don't do that. Don't.
Folks gather on Main Street in Leland to celebrate and have a good time after homecoming. But the night took a tragic turn after multiple people were killed and injured.
We never expected what happened last night to go on. Leland is supposed to be the place where everybody, other people can come to have fun.
From shoes left behind, shattered glass, shell casings, and a car riddled with bullet holes, to firefighters spraying blood off the ground. This was the aftermath of the mass shooting in Leland that left 6 people dead and 16 others injured.
Ah, man. Oh, it's just sadness. Mainly sadness. Sad for the families that lost loved ones.
The shooting happened in downtown Leland after Leland High School's homecoming.
When you hear about people just shooting in a crowd, were they really talking to anybody, or did they just come here just to wreak havoc?
The Washington County coroner identified the victims as 41-year-old Orishama Johnson, 19-year-old Kevin Plant, 25-year-old Shelbyana Powell, 18-year-old Kathleen Johnson, 18-year-old Amos Bankton, and 34-year-old Jermichael Jones. Some of the victims died at trauma centers in Memphis and Jackson. Leland School District Superintendent Jesse King said the murders hit especially hard since his school district worked so hard to keep the violence out of that nice homecoming game.
It is very disturbing. It is disappointing. It is very upsetting. People should have a right to come home and enjoy themselves.
Leland city leaders, the FBI, ATF, and Washington County Sheriff's Department didn't have much to say about a suspect, except to say he remained on the run until Saturday night. Ask the public to recognize that they have a role in this investigation. You have seen something, you may have heard something, or know someone who did. We ask you to share that information. And while
All right, so it's a little bit more on that, but through sake of time, let's get 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 1. 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the day shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. And 6 people dying at one time through gunfire, that's kind of like, and 20 people shot. You're dealing with war numbers. Do you know what I'm saying? Ukraine and Bosnia and things of that nature. Not after a homecoming game, but we do understand the scriptures that what I mean. If you breaking the Sabbath, you're open to things of that nature. And this just because you didn't get shot, the people didn't get shot or die, the trauma of hearing those bullets whizzing by and he's here to hitting the fence and bing off the fence and all that, that's gonna keep people up at night. Hopefully, most high willing, brothers that are down there can go down and what I'm saying and bring out the word, what I'm saying, so they know why these things happen and what can be done to prevent. Marching ain't gonna do it. Economic boycotts ain't gonna do it. It's following the laws of the Most High God. All right. So this is gonna be the last video when we're gonna talk about hold on. We're gonna talk about health. Health is crucial. You know what I'm saying? We gotta be on some healthy type time. When our bodies to function properly, we got to put the right things in it. You know what I'm saying? We can't put dirt in a Bentley, you know what I'm saying? You put mud water in a Bentley or a Rolls Royce and expect it to run properly. You have to put the best quality gas in these machines. And that's same thing with your body. You know, put the best quality in there. This is a hack, right? We're gonna talk about pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds do play its part in destroying parasites, which we all have, believe it or not. Do you have an American diet or had an American diet or you live in America? It's a good chance you got parasites in your body. And you know what I mean? People say, I must be having a tapeworm. I'm just eating and eating. Probably do. You know what I'm saying? So to, a hack to destroy the parasites is pumpkin seeds. Okay, let's get 1 Corinthians 6:20. Pumpkin seeds is
Hey, Shalakia,
Khan.
Shalakia Kasaja. Also, pumpkin seeds is good for a lot of men if you avoid the prostate. Pumpkin seeds is good for prostate, right? Because a lot of men, especially black men, come down with prostate cancer. Pumpkin seed is very good for that. To avoid that, pumpkin seed is good for, if there's a lot of things it's good for, brother. Like you said, if you want to multiply children, pumpkin seed plays a role in that. So, pumpkin seed is very good, man.
Khan. Khan. So yeah, and it could be just a snack, just sitting there chewing on some pumpkin seeds and come to find out it's good for you. Okay. 1 Corinthians 6:20 and reads, "For ye are bought with a price, therefore glorify Yahweh in your body and in your spirit, which are Yahweh's." So we're bought with a price. You know what I'm saying? This body, you know what I mean? This doesn't belong to us, it belongs to the Most High God. So if we put in garbage in our body, he'll take us right out of here. Okay. Especially if you know better, you do better. Okay. So let's watch the next video. And this is the last video. Health is wealth.
We often go for these really complex, when we're looking for ways to get healthier, we often go for these really complex solutions. But today, we're going to talk about a nutritional powerhouse that you've probably just walked right past in the grocery store. It's time to give the humble pumpkin seed a second look. So let me ask you something. What if the key to a truly restful night's sleep was hiding in something this small, this simple? It sounds almost too easy to be true, right? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into. All right, first up, the secret superfood. You might know them as pepitas, but we're about to find out why some people literally call them green gold. Yeah, people actually call these green gold. And it's not just a cute nickname, you guys. It really hints at the incredible nutritional value packed inside that tiny little shell. Okay, so what is the magic inside? What gives them this power? Well, it really comes down to three key players working together in a pretty amazing way. First, we've got tryptophan. Now, this is an essential amino acid, which basically means your body can't make it on its own. You have to get it from food. And here's the cool part. It's the building block for two super important chemicals. Serotonin, which is your feel-good hormone, and melatonin, I'm sure you've heard of it, the one that tells your body it's time to sleep. Then there's magnesium. Honestly, you can just think of this as nature's chill pill. It has this amazing calming effect on your muscles and your mind, which is perfect for dialing down that stress and anxiety that can keep you tossing and turning. And rounding out our power trio is zinc. This stuff is a real workhorse. I mean, it's vital for your immune system, sure, but it also plays a huge, super important role in helping you sleep and in men's reproductive health. Okay, so here's where it all comes together. It's like a perfect little domino effect. You eat some pumpkin seeds, right? That gives you the tryptophan. Your body then turns that into serotonin, which makes you feel relaxed and happy. And then zinc comes in and helps flip the switch, converting that serotonin into melatonin. Boom. That's your body's signal for a deep, restful night's sleep. How cool is that? And that sleep connection is incredible. But believe me, that's just scratching the surface. The same stuff that helps your mind unwind creates this amazing ripple effect through your whole body. I mean, think about it. So many of us are dealing with stress, anxiety, which of course messes with our sleep. It's a vicious cycle. But pumpkin seeds offer this beautiful, natural 1-2 punch. You get the magnesium to calm everything down and the tryptophan to set the stage for sleep. It's brilliant. And what about your heart? Well, the benefits here are just as stacked. They come at it from all sides. You've got omega-3s fighting inflammation, magnesium helping to keep your blood pressure in check, and these things called phytosterols that help kick the bad LDL cholesterol to the curb. They can even boost nitric oxide, which basically opens up your blood vessels for better flow. It's a total win for your ticker. Okay, just look at this number, 33%. Let that sink in. Studies have found that diets high in magnesium, which, as we know, pumpkin seeds are loaded with, are linked to a 33% lower risk of type 2 diabetes in men. That is a huge deal. It shows the incredible power of a simple food choice. And when it comes to men's health specifically, the benefits are super targeted. That high zinc content, it's directly linked to better sperm quality and count. The omega-3s help with motility. That's just a fancy word for how well they can swim. And on top of that, antioxidants protect them from damage. It's a real powerhouse for male fertility. All right, so you're probably convinced by now, right? The why is clear. So let's talk about the how. And the best part, it is ridiculously easy to get these into your diet. Seriously, these things are so versatile. You can just munch on a handful roasted or raw for a super easy snack. Sprinkle them on your salad or soup for that satisfying crunch. You can even toss them in a smoothie or on top of your yogurt. There's really no wrong way to eat them. And you know what's even better? You don't have to eat a ton of them. To get all those amazing benefits we just talked about, all you really need is about 30 grams a day. That's just a heaping tablespoon. So easy to do. So, let's wrap this up. After looking at everything, what's the bottom line on pumpkin seeds? I think this quote really nails it. A nutritional powerhouse and a promising source for disease prevention. It's not just a snack, it's a powerhouse. And scientists are seeing it as a real tool for helping to prevent chronic illnesses down the road. So let's just run it back one more time. We're talking about one simple food that can help you sleep better, boost your mood, protect your heart, and beef up your immune system. It is truly the ultimate unsung hero in your kitchen. It just goes to show you, right? Small, simple changes can add up to huge benefits for your health. So I'll just leave you with this question. What's one little change you're going to make for your health today?
What's the one change you're gonna make? You're gonna take the elevator, you're gonna take the steps. You know what I mean? One small step for man, one giant leap. How about Shem Yahushai? Home Yashala, we got next. So if you want to stand face the east, prostrate and face the east, we're going to close out in prayer. Home Yashala. It's the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew, Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malachbaka, Taba'a, Ratazaka, Ayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashamayim, Nadananawa, Lacham, Kau, Yawam, Wasalaf Nawa, Kabawah Nawa, Kasalaf Nawa, Kabawafi Nawa, Wala'a, Davi Nawa, Banasai 1, Abo, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Watapalarov, Lawalumyam, Aman. This book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, and we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Lord Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yawashai, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, spiritually annihilate Esau and the other nations. Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar. Kwame Ashala, we got next. Also, have you make haste, if it be your will, to send back your son to retrieve us, destroy Babylon, let prophecy unfold. Amen. All right. Kwame Ashala, everybody that is on YouTube, come on over to the Zoom, quick announcements, and we'll be closing out. Shalom.